There is a level of power beyond winning arguments or climbing ladders, a power that makes you immune to the game itself. We are taught from a young age to pursue a specific kind of power, the power of the corner office, the power of a winning debate, the power of social status and influence. We spend our lives in this pursuit, accumulating victories, titles, and followers. Yet, this power is profoundly fragile. It depends entirely on the consent and validation of others. It is a frantic, exhausting dance of managing perceptions, defending territory, and fearing the inevitable moment when the ladder is kicked out from under us. This is not strength. It is a gilded cage of anxiety. The more you have, the more you have to lose. This endless striving is the very definition of being a puppet to the world. The escape from this game is not to win it more decisively, it is to transcend it entirely. The principle for this transcendence is a concept Carl Jung called individuation. This is not a process of becoming better than others, but of becoming more completely yourself. It is the courageous and difficult journey of integrating all the disparate parts of your psyche, the conscious and the unconscious, the light and the dark, the masculine and the feminine, into a cohesive, unified whole. The goal is not to perfect the ego, but to allow the ego to find its proper place in service to a greater, more profound center, the self. Jung understood that this integration was the ultimate aim of a developed life. He wrote, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." This is the core of the work. It is not about positive thinking or ignoring the abyss within. It is about turning to face that abyss, to know it, and to integrate its power rather than be ruled by it from the shadows. Consider the person who moves through life with a calm, unshakable sense of purpose. They are not swayed by fleeting trends or the roaring pressures of the crowd. They do not react to the world's provocations. They act from a center of gravity deep within themselves. This is not apathy. It is the peace that comes from wholeness. They have made the darkness conscious, and in doing so, have robbed the external world of its power to manipulate them through fear or desire. They are playing a different game, one with no opponent. We are conditioned to live in a state of internal civil war. We cleave ourselves in two. There is the good self we present to the world, the polite, competent, agreeable mask. And then there is the shadow, everything we deem unacceptable. Our anger, our envy, our vulnerabilities, our unorthodox desires. We spend immense psychic energy suppressing this shadow, pretending it doesn't exist. But it does. And the more we push it down, the more it controls us from below, projecting itself onto others and erupting in moments of self-sabotage and inexplicable rage. This constant internal battle makes you predictable. It makes you weak. Your triggers are the chains the world uses to lead you. The principle to resolve this war is the union of opposites. True psychic strength is not found in the purity of light, but in the courage to hold the tension between light and dark within yourself without breaking. It is the realization that your aggression contains the energy for decisive action. Your fear contains the wisdom of caution. Your sadness connects you to the heart of humanity. To become whole is to withdraw your projections from the world and own your entire complex nature. It is to be both the lamb and the lion. As Jung stated, the self is a coincidentia oppositorum. It is therefore bright and dark, and yet neither. It is a totality that transcends dualistic labels. To embody the self is to no longer be defined by good or bad, but to operate from a unified center that utilizes all aspects of your being with conscious intent. This is why an individuated person can receive harsh criticism without an emotional reaction. When someone points out a flaw, they do not crumble in defense of a fragile ego. They can calmly analyze the critique for any kernel of truth because they have already faced that darkness in themselves. The insult has no hook. It cannot find purchase on a smooth, integrated surface. They can take the data, discard the venom, and continue on their path, unmoved. The critic is not an enemy, but merely a source of information to be processed and used if valuable. As you continue on your own path, consider a journal a necessary tool, not for documenting events, but for dialoguing with these hidden parts of yourself. Ask your anger what it is trying to protect. Ask your fear what it is trying to warn you about. This is the beginning of integration. Think of the conventional leader. Their identity is fused with their title, their authority, their team's approval. Their power is external, granted by a system. If they are demoted, if their company fails, if their followers abandon them, they collapse. Because the self they built was a house of cards, dependent on things that can be taken away in an instant. This is the profound vulnerability of the ego when it mistakes itself for the whole. The true center of command is not the ego. The ego is merely the general on the battlefield of conscious life. The self is the sovereign, the totality of the kingdom, both seen and unseen. Individuation is the process by which the general, the ego, stops fighting for its own glory and aligns its actions with the will of the entire kingdom, the self. Its purpose shifts from self-aggrandizement to the fulfillment of a deeper, internal purpose. The ego becomes the loyal and effective servant of the self. This is the meaning behind Jung's critical warning. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. The unindividuated person is a victim of fate, a pawn of their own unexamined complexes and desires. The individuated person, by making the unconscious conscious, seizes the reins of their own destiny. This is the leader who no longer cares for titles, but for the mission itself. They are not motivated by the next promotion or the fear of being replaced. Their authority emanates not from their position on an org chart, but from the undeniable coherence of their being. They cannot be threatened with demotion or flattered into compromise because their compass is internal. Their security is not in their role, but in their very self. This is the final stage of power. You no longer need to seek it because you have become it. You are not a part of the whole. You are the whole expressed in part. What does an unbreakable self mean to you? Share your reflections in the comments below. If this exploration of the deeper structures of the psyche resonates with you, subscribe and join us on this journey inward. Further resources for your path are waiting for you on the end screen.